Hey guys, it's Edward with Reef Ed here, and I'm back in the lab again. Today I'm going to be doing a review and comparison of the brand new ATI Straton X lights. These just became available in the US. I'm really excited about these. I can't wait to show you just the new features and functionality and compare them with my current Hydra Edge 68s. And I'm going to let you know what I think. So build quality wise, the lights are really impressive just right out the box. They're made out of an aluminum material for the housing. It's got an anodized coating on it, which is really nice. It's very slick and sleek. It's also got a little bit of water resistance to it. The mounting arms themselves are also constructed out of a similar material with kind of that same finish or sheen on it, which is really nice. It plugs directly into the fixture. So you remove a little plate with a couple of screws and it slots directly in. It's very well engineered with these mounting arms in mind. And the other thing I want to mention is that the thickness will accommodate pretty much any level of thickness of any standard tank. I was a little concerned because ATI's website had 19 millimeters listed. If you do the conversion on that, it's actually just shy of 3/4 inch. So I was a little worried that it wouldn't fit on a 3/4 inch tank. It's not a problem at all. It looks like it'll fit maybe even up to an inch or just shy of an inch, and they'll fasten on with no issues whatsoever. A couple of the downsides I want to mention about the arms. One is that there's a couple of 3D material components, 3D printed material components, and that's not ideal, but it's also a really high quality 3D printed material. So I really don't have any complaints there. There was another issue that I was worried about based on some early reviews, which were there's a sagging that some people had noticed before. And indeed, at a couple of the trade shows, you could see that they had strapped the mounting arm to part of the booth framing structure, which didn't really inspire a lot of confidence when I saw that. Maybe it's related to glass thickness, but on my 3/4 inch thick tank, I'm having no sagging issues whatsoever. So I'm really happy about that. The other downside that's worth mentioning is that you cannot adjust how far out the fixtures will sit. So you can, I mean, you can place them anywhere on the back rim of your tank, as you would expect with a mounting arm, but you can't adjust how far out over the tank they go. So on my 24-inch kind of standard display, you'll see that they sit kind of towards the back, which is okay because my corals and my scape is more oriented that way to give the front of the tank a little more flow and swimming space. But it's something to note because if you've got a tank that's, maybe 28 or even 30 inches wide and you're trying to use the mounting arms, it's not going to line up with the middle of your tank. You'll need to consider a ceiling mounting solution where you can get it wherever you want and dialed in exactly how you'd like it. I couldn't do that because I've got really high vaulted ceilings in my home, so that was just not an option. So let's talk about performance. The first thing you got to mention is noise or the lack thereof. So this is passive cooling using an aluminum housing. So there's no noise. They're totally silent. And after running my Hydra Edge 68s at 100% and kind of getting used to that low level fan noise, once that's removed, it's really quite nice. And let's talk about lighting. I should provide a little bit of context because I'm doing some comparison here. I was previously running 3 Hydra 68 edge lights, which are really nice fixtures, but they're a little underpowered for what I'm trying to do with Acropora in my tank. The Stratons appear to put out a lot more par per watt than some of the other fixtures out there do. And you can really, really crank these up to cook acros if you need to. But I'm perfectly happy just having these lights running at 30-40% and giving me the same intensity that I was getting, the same par that I was getting on my Hydra edges. And then if I want to crank that up a little bit to really get some additional growth, I can do that. Also, I'm really, really happy with this smooth blanket of light. Than from Tidal Gardens has talked about this a couple of times. I know that the industry is kind of moving more towards these panel fixtures because It may not come across in these pictures and these videos, but that smooth blanket of light, it's just it really, really blows the competition out of the water. And I was happy with my Hydra Edge 68s because they're a bit of a panel too, compared to the HDs that I was using prior, which were more of a puck design. But I don't think I could ever go back. What are the negatives? Well, there are none as far as the fixture itself. It's fantastic, with one exception. There is no Wi-Fi support. In order to fit the form factor and the engineering decisions that ATI made, there's no Wi-Fi support, and I don't think there ever will be any Wi-Fi support in the future. There's no expansion ports for a dongle, like what you can get on the Kessel lights. So you're stuck with Bluetooth. Now, that's not a big deal, but it is kind of nice to be able to connect to your lights through Wi-Fi in an app pretty much anywhere. And the Bluetooth range is pretty short and it doesn't have the greatest connectivity with the app. I struggled getting the app to connect to the lights at even a moderate distance sometimes. There's some really weird and esoteric things about the app as well. And that brings me to really the main negative is the app sucks. There's no other way to put it. It functions at a base level, but it is needlessly confusing. It took me quite some time to figure out how to control even the individual channels because it's not that intuitive. There's no preset options that you can save yourself. So you've got six total presets to choose from. You can then go in and modify each individual node. You can add and remove nodes to simplify it, but you can't save this as a favorite and then import it later at another time. That's really frustrating. That's kind of a standard feature, but it's also a software only feature. So I'm hopeful that they'll be able to come out with an update in the future that'll improve that. Lastly, I wanted to take a look at what the actual data shows. So I took my Apogee par meter and I took measurements of various places in the tank at 100% intensity, 135 watts on my Hydra 68s. And then I did the same thing for the new Straton X's to see how they are performing. And what I saw is that roughly here at about 30, maybe 40%, the Straton X's are outperforming the Hydra 68s. Final thoughts. These lights are incredible. I'm extremely happy with them. They're sleek, they're dead silent. The performance is incredible. They're extremely efficient, not just in terms of wattage, but also real estate. Despite being 14 by 14 inches, they're very efficient for the amount of space that they take up. They have very low glare, so you don't need to have shades for them, unlike the Hydra 68s, which, like a lot of other fixtures on the market, have a blinding glare. If they're in the living room, you're laying down, you got kids playing on the floor, it's something you got to consider. The only downside is that the app is not great. And of course, they are premium lights, so they cost a lot of money. But I wanted to talk about that because when I went to upgrade to these Stratons and I did a cost comparison, I was going to have to add not one extra Hydra 68, but I was going to have to add two because I was going to have to change the orientation. They're 15-inch fixtures, and you could not fit three of them plus shades on my 180-gallon 6-foot tank at a horizontal or a parallel orientation. I was going to have to rotate them and then add a fifth one to get the kind of even distribution that I needed. So if you're looking for a premium light, the Straton X's are taking the game forward. I mean, this is like the iPhone, in my opinion, in just how good they are. I think you're going to see, as Terrence discussed on Serious Reefs, you're going to see the whole industry start moving to these panels because you just can't beat that blanket of light. So if you enjoyed this, or if you have any questions or thoughts, give me a like, maybe hit the subscribe, or just give me a comment. Let me know what you think. Thanks. I'll see you next time.